experimenting here with Grok, the AI system with Elon Musk, or Elon Musk AI system, and specifically Grok 4. And I pay a $30 a month service to upgrade to Grok or Super Grok because you know, unlimited type features. So it's quite interesting. I've been poking around with AI for the last few months. Did a number of videos talking about AI, and then was comparing AI like Grok to ChatGPT to Google Gemini. Uh, Meta has their AI. I see AI being incorporated more and more to different platforms. For example, that you go to an investing website and they have an AI analyzer. it's it's becoming a quite a useful tool. But what separates Grok from the rest is Grok has personality. You can have conversational AI. It's not vanilla or generic. Like a lot of times, like you go on Google and you just type in, a question. Like maybe like NFL draft or 53-minute roster. Well, instead of doing that, you can go on Grok 4 and have a conversation about the NFL draft and the 53 man muster and your favorite team. And it's probably one of the better conversations you'll ever have because it's artificial intelligence. It's very insightful. Uh, Imagine, for example, you're an expert on the NFL, okay, and you find it hard to find other people to have a conversation with who are also expert on NFL. So then you start having a conversation with Grok, and you'll find that your expertise is matched or surpassed uh, through conversations with Grok about the NFL. So like you're always wanting to have that in-depth conversation. You got it. Grok 4 is there. Elon describes it as having a PhD level, uh, uh, understanding on every subject at all times. So you wouldn't be able to, for example, uh, out outguess Grok. Grok's going to know the answer. Now, Grok doesn't have a lot of common sense. That's still a little bit way off, but it is very conversation-like. It is impressive. I was actually surprised, because I was like, okay, well, AI is going to be very scientific, very matter of fact, facts based, but no, conversational AI is here. You can have conversation with Grok just like you could with another driver. You could talk about trucking issues. It's an expert. Um, it's something where I think it's going to be like a personal assistant for business leaders, for business people. And I even asked Grok, and Grok went into great detail how AI is being used in politics, for example, how politicians are using AI to create better policy, write better laws, uh, to more targeted advertising based on their demographics of their home state or district or wherever they may be coming from. Even local municipalities are using AI for budgeting and planning and community services. World leaders are using AI to create win-win scenarios when they're talking about trade issues with other countries. Uh, Military is using AI. They're coming up with top secret new weapons platform systems that incorporate AI. Spacecraft is using AI. The Mars rover uses AI. And that helicopter thing they have on Mars, that's also using AI. AI is already in space. And then we talked about self-driving trucks because I was very curious about that. And, I hypothesized with Grok. I said, what if, for example, instead of replacing humans, AI is incorporated into trucks to uh, enhance truck safety and performance and driver's ability. So AI wouldn't necessarily replace humans altogether. It would complement humans' performance so that you can get more productivity, safety, quality, and things like that. It's very possible. And I asked Grok, what about taking AI across multiple platforms? So you could have AI in your truck and AI in your personal vehicle, but you wouldn't necessarily want separate AI systems. You probably would want one AI system. You wouldn't want to have to juggle 5 different personalities, 5 different AIs. Also, also possible and likely where your cell phone becomes the centerpiece of AI across multiple platforms. In the future, smart vehicles would be able to communicate with AI. And so that AI could do all your preventative maintenance planning and all your predictive maintenance planning so that the components of the truck could communicate with the AI. AI could monitor all the wear components and tell you when something is going to break before it breaks. So it's really unlimited potential. It's very interesting. And what surprised me was how rapidly AI is being implemented through all aspects of society. When you think about federal, state, and local governments using AI, and you think about business leaders using AI, um, and the military and space exploration using AI, who's not using AI? Well, the non users of AI is your average consumer who is somewhat of a laggard. They're lagging behind. Uh, think of like maybe uh, lower middle class or working class or lower class individuals, maybe who can't afford a $30 a month subscription for Grok. Maybe they just they never got into social media or got into technology to begin with. They always you know try to avoid technology. Those people are not using AI. When we think about the average consumers who are using AI on a daily basis, I mean, they're really at the cutting edge forefront of adapting AI into their everyday life. And that's where I'm at. I'm finding more and more uses for AI. So I wouldn't say I'm lagging in AI. I may be, as far as drivers go, as owner operators go, I may be among those that are early adopters of AI. You know, AI. I asked Grok. I said, okay, what AI tools are out there for drivers? And right now, the AI tools are geared towards guys on the spot market. They're developing tools so that guys can book loads on the spot market easier. Uh, and there's like AI tools to do that. It's quite interesting. I mean, there could be incentives to go on the spot market someday if you're going to have all these fantastic AI tools that take some of the chaos out of it. you know, I don't think I would. I think I would stay right where I'm at. But it seems like there's AI tools there for the guys who are on the spot market. I didn't even know what some of these tools were. I never heard of them before, but they're being developed and they're going to be coming into the trucking industry. So I think within a year or two, um, this is all ramping up, and it's ramping up quickly, very quickly, where the number of people who are not using AI is going to be a dwindling number over time. And a year or two from now, you're going to be using AI as much or as frequently as you use the internet. Uh, AI has potential to change the world. And there's been technologies breakthroughs through the past few decades that have absolutely changed the world. With the internet, changed the world. Cell phone technology changed the world. Social media changed the world. AI is going to change the world. So the old ways of doing things are going to seem like how things were done before the internet. It's like, when you imagine how work was being done before the internet, everything was done by paper. You know, everything had to be handwritten or typed out. And then computers came along, and then they started creating documents on the computer. That was a big, big step. Then the internet, even a bigger step. Well, it's going to be like that with AI. Like right now, the way you're doing things right now, without AI, it's going to be like the Stone Age. Um, in a few years, after everybody's using AI, uh, you'll look back at that and you'll think about what life was like before AI, just like people think about what life was like before the internet. You can't go back. The internet's here. You can't go back to a time when there was no internet. But people like myself remember that. We remember what it was like before the internet, and it's going to be that same way with AI. You can't go back. Now that the technology is here, you can't go back to life without AI. Now AI is going to be everywhere all the time, 24/7. You know, AI is going to seep through all aspects of society. You won't be able to ignore it. Just like you can't ignore the internet. If you're living in the year 2025, you can't ignore the internet. Well, in a couple of years, you can't ignore AI, whether you want to or not. It's going to be everywhere, affecting everything. Uh, Hopefully, it makes things better. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to replace workers. It could complement workers. You could have AI in everything that has wheels. You can have AI in your home. You can have AI in robotics. You could have AI in doctors' offices. You'll have AI everywhere. You probably would have AI in a mechanical shop. Imagine that your top mechanic is not a human. It's an AI robotics mechanic. Every shop may have one. So if there's a really difficult problem with a truck, can't figure it out, let AI take a crack at it. They might be able to figure it out where other mechanics can't. It could improve all aspects of work and life, personal life, so all aspects of space exploration, all aspects of the military, all aspects of politics. When we think about um, future presidential debates, these will all be mapped out by AI. AI will already have the questions, and AI will already have the answers. And politicians will just basically be reading from a script. They'll be like, this is what my policy is, and that policy was derived using AI. It could be better. Could be. I mean, it has potential for being worse, that's for sure. But AI has potential to change society for the better. And it's coming very, very quickly. Right now, as an owner operator, I can't go a day without using AI. I use AI in my decision making process. Now, it doesn't make decisions for me, but it provides insight into what my choices are. I can ask AI anything about trucking, and it'll give me an enormous amount of information. I don't necessarily have to rely on other drivers to learn or find something out. I can ask AI. And AI will give me links and references and explanations and detail that maybe another driver doesn't have time to go into, or omits certain aspects of the question. AI is very thorough. So if you haven't tried it already, I recommend you go to the Google Play Store. I'll put a link in the description when we're done. Uh, Look for Grok, Grok. Download that app. It has some free capabilities, but you want to upgrade relatively soon to Super Grok for $30 a month and start using it on a daily basis. Have a conversation with Grok. Grok is very intuitive. It is probably not what you think. And I can't imagine going another day forward without using AI as part of my business. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.